Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So, first of all, I'm a little stressed in my life right now, and I just want to film this video, but I just don't want to change, so I'm gonna wear my beer shirt, and we're just gonna have to accept it. If that's gonna bother you, maybe this channel is not the place for you. That sounded a little mean, but anyway. I need to get into this focused mental space. Okay, so it's a very exciting video of first impressions. I can't remember the last time I've done a first impressions. It's been a while, but I did indeed buy the Oden Legendary Diversa collection. This launched about a month ago on September 20th, and I bought it even though I technically shouldn't have with my no buy or my low buy or whatever, but you can see how that's going. But the color stories of these palettes just looked so beautiful, and I love Tina, who is one of the collaborators, so much. If you watch me, you know how much I love Tina, and it was so hard to say no, so I didn't say no. I said yes, in fact. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to just do a look with these, probably just jump between these for this video, between the three of these, and then I'll probably do 3 looks, 1 palette with each of these. So basically, this is a collaboration between 3 influencers in Oden's Eye. I'm sure everyone already knows about this, but the 3 collaborators are Tina from the Fancy Face, who, like I said, I love so much. She came out with the Hummingbird Palette. This color story is so bright and so beautiful, and I love more than anything the depth that all 3 of these palettes have. It's giving me truly everything I want with fun colors and then also deep mattes, and it's just makes me so happy. So this, it definitely is bright, like it has lots of bright colors, but there are also lots of deep mattes. Like these 3 mattes up here, pretty deep, so I love that. They also collaborated with Judy, who I actually didn't know before this video, but she is really great. I subscribed to her after watching her reveal video. This is the Red Dragon palette, and this is such a beautiful neutral palette. It is just the best. I think it is so pretty. I love you get such a range of neutrals in here. I love this green. I'm very excited to use this. I feel like I've been craving neutral palettes in my life recently, and then they also collaborated with Annette's Makeup Corner. This is the Giant Wolves palette, and this is so beautiful. This color story is just... This is probably my favorite color story, I'm not gonna lie. I love these grungy dark tones, and I'm so excited to play with all of these. I don't even know that I can pick a favorite because they're all so beautiful in their own special way. So let's just swatch them because I can't resist a live swatch in my first impressions. Let's see. Do I want to zoom in a little bit more? Let's do it. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, let me back up so my arm is in the frame. And I guess let's just start with the Giant Wolves palette in collaboration with Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. These are a little bit weird for me to hold. I don't know how to hold them. I don't know why this is making it difficult for me. I don't like to bend my palette all the way back because it makes me sad to it feels like breaking the spine on a book to me, and I don't like to do that. So anyway, I'm just trying to figure this out here. So I'm just gonna put it down to swatch. You've already seen it. So the first shade in here is the shade Astral, This is, it looks like a white, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like a duochrome. It's like a white peachy shade with maybe even a little bit of pink in there. It's like an iridescent shade basically. Then we have the shade Flare, which is a beautiful green. So pretty, so sparkly. And then the shade Antipody, I think, which is like a mossy green. Matte, obviously. The next row we have the shade Annihilation, which is a matte black, which you know I love a matte black in a palette. Then we have the shade Skull, which is a blue purple shade with like a black base. And then the shade Desolate, which is a darker green. Okay, that's not the best swatch. It's a darker green. It's like a dark forest green. Then we have the shade Howling, which is a dark, like eggplant matte shade. That's really pretty. The shade Haughty, which is like a purple taupery shade. I'm pretty sure when I watched Annette's reveal video, she said that this was a little bit more hard pressed than she initially wanted. So essentially, I feel like she was like, wasn't exactly the way that I wanted. So it's maybe a little bit more sheer than she intended. But she was like, if you like dig into it basically with a brush, it'll perform well. Like, I think it's pretty, but I think you might just have to build it up a little bit. And then the shade Ablaze, which is like a bright, cool toned purple. That's really pretty. They're all pretty. Then we have the shade Cosmos, which is a dark, cool toned purple. Ooh, I like that a lot. Then the shade Eternal, which is like kind of like a multi-chrome, I think. This is stunning. Oh my god. It's a blue, pink, green multi-chrome shade. I wonder, let me just try to focus. It never focuses on my finger. I don't know if you can see that, but it's so beautiful. Oh, I really want to put that all over my lid. And then we have the shade Azure, which is a bright blue. That's a really beautiful tone of blue. Alright, and so this is the Giant Wolves palette swatched out. Absolutely stunning. Like, these color stories excite me more than any color story I've seen in a while. Look at all of these deep mattes. Like, I couldn't probably have made a better palette myself. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, now let's hop into let's swatch the Judy Red Dragon palette. So this is the color story, like I showed you before, a beautiful warm neutral palette, which some people may not love, but I'm still a hoe for warm neutrals. So this is the shade Sunrise, which is a beautiful matte mustard shade. I love that. And the shade Solar Flare. This is like a greeny gold with a warm base to it. Delicious. So bright and so sparkly. And then we have the shade Claw, which is a like mid-toned, like pretty neutral matte brown. Then we have the shade Overheat, which is like a rose gold shade basically. So sparkly. It's like a rose gold with a ton of gold sparkle to it. We have the shade Jade, which is a lighter, like dusty, mossy green. This is a very exciting shade to me. And then we have the shade Luna, which is a really shifty shade. It's a little bit unassuming in the pan, but absolutely so pretty and shifty. It's like a red, warm, like reddy burgundy shade with a really strong like green and gold shift. Next row, this is the shade Amber, which is a warm, like a warm orangey, almost red shade with a ton of gold sparkle, really sparkly as well. And then we have the shade Yin, which is a mid-toned, warm, very like red-toned brown that's swatched so beautifully. And then we have the shade Serene, which is a matte, peachy shade. We have the shade Fire, which is like a burgundy shade. The shade Aurora, which is a darker matte brown. Also pretty neutral, maybe a little bit of plum in there. And then the shade Dragon, which is a really bright poppy red. This is just so nice. All of these shimmers are so sparkly, maybe with the exception of Luna, but Luna is really shifty. I love the texture in these palettes. I'm so excited for them. Okay, and then last but definitely not least, let's watch the Hummingbird palette in collaboration with Tina. So this is what the color story looks like again. This is very like this is the brightest palette for sure. So first is the shade Feathers, which is a bright metallic green. Then the shade Red Hills, which is a darker, like mid-toned red, really beautiful. And then the shade Star Apple, which is a dark purple, love it. Next row we have the shade Swallowtail, which I'm so excited for. It's a very textured metallic orange, and I'm always on the hunt for a really good metallic orange, so that is so beautiful. It has pink sparkle to it as well. It's like pink and gold sparkle. The shade Tropics, which is a beautiful like tealy blue shade. And then the shade Lagoon, which is a matte blue, which actually is brighter swatched than it looks like in the pan. We have the shade Hibiscus, which is a beautiful, like bright pink. The shade Beach Sands, a really sparkly champagne, so pretty. And the shade Hummingbird, which is a dark metallic like blue purple duochrome. Absolutely beautiful. Look at the shine on that. Then we have the shade Fancy, which is like the multi-chrome of the palette. Let's see. Oh, I also really want to use this all over my lid. It's like maybe not quite a multi-chrome, but it's like blue. It's pink and purple and almost has like a bluey purple shift, and then there's some green and gold in there. It is absolutely stunning. The shade Blue Fields, which is a really bright metallic blue. Look at that. And the shade Clear Blue, which is a really light matte blue. so bright, just so nice. But I feel like I maybe didn't articulate what drew me in and made me want to try Oden's Eye and want to try these palettes, because I think I've talked about it before, but Oden's Eye has never really been a brand. Like, I've seen so many people rave and rave about how much they love Oden's Eye and their quality and blah, 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 but they've really never, like, I've never felt compelled to really buy from them. I've never felt like any pull or attraction to them. I like, just their color stories weren't that exciting to me. And I felt like all of their palettes were super light to mid-tone. Like, they really didn't have much depth in their palettes, which, number one, for me, it's like, why am I buying a palette if it doesn't have deep shades in it? And two, I was like, so many people probably aren't going to be able to use their palettes. And I don't know, like, I just really never drew me in as a brand. And then when they released these palettes, every single person in this collaboration did such an amazing job curating these color stories. Like, so inspiring. Every shade is perfect in the palettes, and I feel like every single palette is unique and brings something different to the collection. You have this beautiful neutral palette, this deep jewel toned, like, grungy palette, and then you have beautiful, like, a bright color story that's not a rainbow color story and still has deep shades. I just think it's so smart, and every shade is, like, perfect where it is, and I just feel so passionate about this. And I mean, I've only swatched it, but the shimmers look so pretty, so textured and sparkly and beautiful, and you have, like, multi-chromes in these palettes. It's like, I'm so excited for them to try these out. I genuinely have no idea what I'm going to do, which is why I don't have blush on or anything. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna zoom in, I'm gonna do up close swatches of all the palettes, and then I'm gonna zoom in and we can do a look. And personal. I'm so excited, and I just really want to try to use a variety of shades today. So this is already putting me in such a better mood. So I'm going to start with the Red Dragon palette. I'm going to use initially this shade called Jade. It's a lighter green matte shade. And I'm going to just run this shade as a transition shade just through my crease. We're not going to do anything crazy in terms of shape today. I've never used Oden's Eye before, like I said, so I just want to see how they work. And I've primed my eyes using the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, and I set my lids because I always set my lids. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful, and did genuinely blend out really well. Mildly kick-uppy, but really doesn't bother me, and it feels like pretty standard, to a standard level, like most eyeshadows that I've used anyway. So now I'm going to go into the Giant Wolves palette. This packaging on all of these palettes is beautiful as well. And I'm going to go into the shade Antipode. I think I'm going to do a green crease today if that wasn't abundantly clear, and just use this to build up in my crease. This brush looks dirty, and it kind of is, but I did brush it off, so there's no like additional shadow. It's just staining from previous uses. That is a beautiful color. And I mean, like, I don't really have anything major to say in a way that's like, it's doing exactly so far what I would expect it to. Like, they're building well, they're blending well, they are like decently pigmented, but not overly pigmented where it's like, whoa, I can't work with this. So it's like, so far so good. And now I'm going to take the shade Desolate and just deepen my crease up. Although I wonder if this is going to be as dark as I want it to be. Maybe not. We'll see. If I could have this shade like 1 to 2 tones deeper, then it would be perfect for me. It's not maybe quite as rich as I would prefer. It deepens it, but I just like my mattes to be like super dark, so. But there is a matte black in the palette, so that's always good. And then I'm just going to take the shade that I used Antipode on, so the mid-toned green, and just use this to blend the darker green out a little bit more. Okay, so I think I'm going to cut my crease. I'm going to do a half cut crease and then think about what I'm going to use on my lid. I think I'm either going to use the multi-chrome from the Giant Wolves or the Hummingbird palette, but I just don't know. Okay, I feel as though my creases are not even, but that's alright. I'm going to go into the shade Antipode. First, I'm going to put the lid on my concealer. I'm going to take the shade Antipode and run this over the edge of my crease. And then place this onto my lid as well. And then I'm going to take Desolate and do the same thing. And then also deepen my outer corner. Okay, I'm just so conflicted, like I just don't know what to do on my lid. My gut is saying do the shade Eternal, which is from the Giant Wolves palette. But part of me thinks that Fancy could be cool as well because it would be like kind of contrasty. Oh, I just don't know what to do. Is doing Eternal too obvious? Like, I'm having a time. I'm gonna just go with my gut. So that is the shade Eternal from the Giant Wolves palette. I'm gonna give this a little spray. And I'm just gonna put this all over my lid. Ooh. That is so pretty. Definitely more smooth. It's not like super textured and sparkly compared to like some of the other textures in these palettes, but really shifty. Yeah, definitely not the most matchy-matchy, but whatever, we're just gonna go with it. I'm going to just take Antipode one more time and just blend this into my lid a little bit. This is not the smoothest blend, but I will fix that. And then typically I'll go in with the shade, like the brush that I used the shimmer on, and go back over the top just so it blends better. And then I'm gonna take the shade Jade again, which was the very first green I used, and just run this over the edge. And I'm gonna take Eternal on my finger and intensify it on my lid. Very creamy as well. This shade in particular feels like very creamy. So let's do my lower lash line now. I think I'm just gonna go all color, go for it today, really try to do the most. So I'm gonna go into the shade Lagoon from the Hummingbird palette and just run this all along my lower lash line. It's super bright. It's really beautiful. I'm going to take the shade Star Apple, which is a dark purple, and use this to blend, or use this to deepen my lower lash line. So maybe not the most matchy look, but let's just see how it goes. Oh my god. Okay, and now I'm going to take the shade Clear Blue, and I'm just gonna blend my lower lash line out. And I'm gonna take the shade Feathers as well with my pinky and put this on the inner part of my lower lash line. Let's get some green back in here. I also don't know what's happening right now. And then finally for my inner, which is underneath this brush. And then finally for my inner corner, I'm gonna go into the shade Astral from the Giant Wolves palette. I'm gonna spray that so it sticks down and put this in my inner corner like I said. It's reading very blue, and that might just be because there's like blue from the Lagoon shade. My inner corner, I honestly think that's what it is, but it's really bright. For my final step, I'm going to take Annihilation, which is the black from the Giant Wolves palette, and I'm going to use this to really deepen my outer corner. I typically do this, I actually need a little mirror here. Let me use the mirror from the palette. I typically do this pretty much every time I do my makeup because I just want to have like a lot of depth in my outer corner, but also because my lower lash line is like actually deeper right now than my upper lid. I just want to make sure, at least in my outer corner, that we're meeting, but the depth is a little bit similar, because otherwise I feel like I might look a little bit unbalanced. This is a pigmented black. I've been using my Pat McGrath single black for just like over and over and over, especially recently, and it's like a sheer black. But this is this black isn't, it's quite pigmented. Okay, you guys, so this is the finished look. I think it all actually ended up coming together now that I have liner and lashes on. This lash is the end of its lifespan, so it's a little spiky. Just pretend like you can only see this side. On my lips, I used the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Endless Cacao with the NYX lip liner in the shade Sandstorm, and then Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Diamond Milk. It's kind of like my go-to combination when I don't want anything crazy on my lips, because we got a lot going on the eyes so far. So my thoughts and initial impressions on these palettes is really, really positive. The mattes, I've used, yes, at least one matte from each palette, and they work on par with like some of my favorite matte formulas. They do what I would expect matte shadows to do. You know, they blended well, they built well, they were decently pigmented, but they weren't like crazy pigmented, and I really enjoyed them. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, these are the best shadows I've ever used in my life, but they did work the way that I would expect matte shadows to work. and I didn't have any issues with them at all. So overall, positive experience. The shimmers, again, I didn't use like a ton of different shimmers, but the ones that I used were really nice, and I am so excited to dive more into the shimmers in these palettes because they look so textured, so sparkly, so beautiful. I am so excited, and overall, I'm so happy that I got these. I think they're really, really beautiful, and I'm so excited to do 3 looks, 1 palette with each of these because that will definitely be coming, just focusing on each palette individually. If there's one that you want me to do like first right away, let me know and I can do that for sure, but definitely keep an eye out because that will be happening. I will link all 3 of the collaborators down below. Definitely go check them out. They're all super great. And I had such a good time with this formula and these palettes. They also all came with like these little scarves, which they're beautiful, don't get me wrong. I kind of wish that like there was an option to say like you didn't want them, because while they're like really nice and beautiful and special, I just don't know what I would actually do with them. And so I definitely will keep them, but I don't know. They just feel like I personally might waste them. But I have 3 of these scarves now, so it's kind of like when I got the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette, and it came with like stick on like tattoos, like temporary tattoos, and I was like, I'm never gonna use these, and I do not have children in my life, so I have no one to give them to. But I don't know, maybe they'll come in handy one day. Anyway, that's actually not the point of this video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you picked these up or if they're on your wish list. Hopefully it was fun to watch and informative in some way. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!